Hey everybody, it's your friendly neighborhood Jeremy Guy over here. Just want to let you know this is the penultimate episode of the Avengers coverage on Days of Future Cast. That's right, we're doing 3 episodes this week, and then in 2 weeks, it'll be the end of the Avengers finally. Thank you for everybody listening. We really appreciate it. If you want to support us, as always, hit up patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Go check out all of the cool rewards and goals and things that you can do to support the network. And it's time for Avengers. Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, and we're here to talk about Avengers 1999, United They Stand, the cartoon that just keeps going down the toilet, and we just keep following it down the pipe, Gary.
and that's a fitting metaphor because we're recording the end of the series today. We watched the last episode, and the last episode doesn't flush all the way down.
No, it doesn't. It gets stuck.
Like it ends halfway through, it gets stuck.
You have to call Thor the plumber so he can get us out of here.
Oh my god, like Mjolnir as a plunger?
Sure, yeah.
That only the best plumbers can lift?
Only the most honorable plumbers. There's one dude, nobody's in Louisiana. There's one dude in Texas that's like, yeah, man, I've never cheated anybody. I don't know if you know, plumbers are notorious cheats, so.
Oh, sure. Well, nobody understands water.
Exactly, yeah.
Like they just get to, say like, hey, it's your zip pipe. And I'm like, oh, okay. Of course, it's my zip pipe. I got a zip pipe in there.
Did I tell you about the time you've been to my house? You know that I have a weird 2-kitchen situation, but our back kitchen stopped draining.
One of them's like a porch.
Yes.
Yeah, like a hybrid.
It's very weird. Our back kitchen stopped draining, so I called my guy out. I've got like a local dude, so I called Shannon, and Shannon's like, he got like the Roto-Rooter thing out and started doing the thing, and he's like, "No, man, this is bigger than I can handle. You're gonna have to call my guy." And I was like, all right, who's your guy? And it was some sort of, I think he called it a hydroblasting place.
Excuse me?
So I call the hydroblaster. I think his name was Chris. And Chris comes out, he's like looking at the stuff. He's like, oh yeah, we can blast the hell out of this, man. So it'll take about 5 or 10 minutes. It's $120. And I'm like, I don't describe to me the thing that you're about to do. And he's like, oh, sure. And he's like, got a truck and he's got these giant tanks on it. And he gestures to those. And he's like, first we heat up the water to like 200 degrees. And I'm like, I'm listening.
So we scald all of your skin off, Greer.
And then we
daring to have the temerity of questioning us.
And then we put this hose into your drain pipe, and then we blast superheated water throughout your drain, and it scrapes everything out of there, and it just peels it off. It's like it's brand new PVC under there. And I was like, cool, okay, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
So there was 2 guys, Chris and his buddy, his helper. So they start pulling out stuff, and they're shoving hoses into things and doing all this stuff. And he's like, all right, we're gonna get started. So he cuts the machine on, and 5 or 10 minutes goes by, and you hear like this whoosh. I've got like I forget what they call it, but it's a thing where I can unscrew and like look into a pipe. For like, it's like a flush drain basically. And like I'm looking at that, and like super steam is billowing out of it like it's a fucking factory or something. It's insane. So we finish up. Like he's like, oh yeah, look at this. We're in the back kitchen, and he's like, so we're turning the water on as much as we can and like flushing all the water through. It's working great. He's like, oh yeah, man, this was no problem. I said, all right, well, come inside. I'm gonna write you a check. We walk inside of my house, and it smells like a million farts in there. It smells so fucking terrible. It smells like the worst thing. Like, it's not rotten, but it's just like, it's this, like, not even like raw shit, but just like a million stale farts. I've just congregated in my kitchen. And like, all 3 of us, as we're walking into my kitchen, are like, whoa, what is that? And he's like, God damn it. He goes, I forgot to tell you, you got to close the lid of your toilet before I do this. I was like, do what? So we walk into my bathroom, and water has spewed because it's a high pressure like blasting situation.
Yeah.
They spewed all of the fart water out of my sewer system into my bathroom, just all over everything.
Oh no!
And
Did you get a discount for that?
It wasn't sewage or anything. Like, it was just gray water, but like it wasn't like shit or piss or anything like that. Like, it wasn't disgusting, but it was just all of the bad sewer smells coming up from my modad. It was.
I'm gonna say it's a little disgusting.
It was a little bad.
Yeah.
Nothing a couple of candles for like 12 or 14 hours couldn't take care of.
That's intense.
Hydroblasting, Gary. It's, make sure you close your toilet lids.
Well, it sounded really rad up until that point. Like I was just like, man, I don't necessarily need that, but maybe I'll just have it done. Just like maintenance.
Sure. I mean, you don't necessarily, like, who knows? You could get that done once a year. It's like cleaning your own pipes out every once in a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I like to have my pipes cleaned. That sounds rad as hell.
What are we talking about today? I'm kind of already way off topic, which I think is going to be a running trend for this episode.
I have that drain problem all the time.
Yep.
That slow drain problem. Mm-hmm. And it's happening here, but I talked about this on the Abject Suffering. I've become a devotee of a product called the Green Gobbler.
Ooh.
Which I just think is a funny name and it's just this like all natural drain cleaning stuff, but it's worked really well for me. So I get the Green Gobbler.
Whenever we get funky sewer smells happening, Autumn breaks out the baking soda and vinegar. Do you know this trick?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That seems to work pretty well. So.
That does it. Yeah, it's all natural. We're talking about 2 episodes of the Avengers cartoon.
3 today.
3 of them today. Yeah, I forgot this is our triple, so we got to get going. This is going to be the first one, What a Vision Has to Do. Not a good title. And this one was originally aired on January 29th, the year 2000. Vision volunteers to be bait. It just says that. It's weird. No, to allow himself to be captured by Ultron as a way for the Avengers to track him to the villain's lair. It works, but Ultron is ready for them. And this is the finale of the Ultron storyline.
Yeah, this note came from the Wikipedia page at the bottom of the episode description. It said, "Note: This is Ultron's last appearance in the series." And I wanted to include that as a special thing for you, because I know you were
to make everybody feel kind of good.
I know you were really looking forward to never seeing this Ultron ever again.
Yeah, it's nice that we stopped dealing with Ultron.
Yes.
I'm done with it, and I think this episode is. None of these episodes are particularly good. The next one's pretty fun. None of them are particularly good, but there is some funny shit that happens in at least all of these a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm so looking forward to be done with this. I know it's 2 hours of recording time down the road, but Jesus Christ.
The middle one which is just called Extreme Vengeance, Extreme Vengeance.
That one's really good.
It's probably my favorite episode of the entire of this whole thing. I
think so too.
It's the dumbest shit in the world. It's so bad and it's so good at the same time.
Yeah.
So we start with Wanda waking up almost like she went to sleep at the end of the last episode, those
in her uniform on top of her blankets.
Yep, as you do if you're a superhero, you never take that latex
wearing
off.
that head thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
She's remembering that. Hey, Simon exists. We should go get that dude's body.
Yeah, Wonder Man's going to come back in a big bad way.
Yeah.
During these recording session.
This is episode 9.
Ultron.
They lost his body in episode 1. I'm just saying.
Yep.
Time
He's been
passed.
referenced a couple times.
Sure.
But for the most part, it's just they've forgotten about Simon. And he's in the opening credits and stuff too. Wonder Man has always been billed as a big part of this show. She's in love with him, but also she has conflicted feelings because the Vision has his enanagrams. And because of those bananagrams, she's kind of in love with the Vision as well.
Yeah. That's going to not go anywhere, by the way, everybody, in case you were wondering where that's going to go.
They hint at it.
Yeah. They almost address it. They come close. And then, magical pink fireworks come out of Wonder Man. So.
Yep. And that's all straight from the comics, too. Him turning into that form.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to it.
Cool.
So Falcon shows up in this seaside shack, these docks. He drives in these episodes his own Batmobile. Did you notice that the Falcon has a Batmobile?
Yes, and Hawkeye does too, but Hawkeye's actually just looks like a normal car, so I guess he couldn't afford the Batmobile.
He just gets the Bowmobile, and it's not very good.
The Falcon Mobile is hilarious to me, and Falcon's when he drives up and he's like, "I'm going to bill Ultron for the tickets to the game I just had to leave," and I'm like, "What do you think you're doing here? He's a robot. What do you mean you're going to bill him?"
You are a superhero. Stop it. The rest of the team came up in a jet. So I don't know if they're just trying to show Falcon as being kind of urban, that he was going to a ball game instead of just showing up with the team. I don't really get it. I get it's so the car can be there, because later he remote controls the car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they're going to do something similar to this. It's almost like they're trying to say, like, the Avengers are leading their own lives, and then, like, we are assembled here at this moment with all of our stuff.
Yeah.
Because they're going to do this in a couple of episodes with the bank robbery thing, where everybody shows up in a different ride for some reason.
Yeah. It's to sell those toys eventually.
I guess they're not
like how
assembling next to the low gas initiative the Avengers have.
the Avengers will be carbon neutral within the next 75 years.
Good job, Hank.
This we vow. The Avengers will stop using straws. So this dock is Ultron zone, and in the middle of this dock, he's got a mansion with gargoyles with glowing eyes.
Yes.
Pretty silly, like pretty inconspicuous for him just to have this mansion down in the dock district. You know, and
nobody notices it because it has it's a giant mansion, or that it's it has giant gargoyles in front of it. It's it's only because it's draining a lot of power. And then as they get closer to investigate, one of my favorite Hank Pym moments is here, where he just says he's looking at whatever device that he has in his hand, and he says, "I got a hot read here."
Y'all see Red 50 Shades? It's extremely good. And then to get in, they get attacked by laser gargoyles. They do the double J pattern.
Of course they do.
The double J pattern, if you've been following along for the Avengers just nonsensical things, means Hawkeye fires, they have a conventional lock they have to get through, and Hawkeye fires an arrow that turns into a drill that goes through the lock, which cannot be the best way to do this.
Well, then immediately after this, they all like converge on the door and just kick it in anyway. And I'm like, why did you need that?
Fucking ninja kicks the door in.
If that drill can take care of that lock, you could have just kicked it in this entire time. Like there was no worries about it whatsoever.
Avengers don't understand how doors work. They immediately split up into two paths for no like good reason. Where Wanda's off on her own looking for Wonder Man, presumably.
Yes.
And the rest of the team goes down various hallways and runs into traps. Like this is their Sen's Fortress.
This is Ultron's Sen's Fortress. It's one story, and he's hiding. He's hiding in the first room.
He's hiding in the coffin. And one of my favorite things that happened. So like Hank Pym and the Vision, some rocks fall down. Hank Pym gets big, and Vision does his trick of turning intangible. Falcon and Tigra, which is, when they're trying to do that characterization thing, you're right on the money when you say that these episodes start hinting at things that just never get paid off. Because it happens a little bit later, but this is them pairing off because there's always been this kind of smoldering romance between them a little bit. I
got a hot read here, Jerry.
This is my hot read. But they make tiger noises. They jump off all these like drills and stuff they're coming through. And I'm glad you have this in the note because I missed it the first time. I just noticed it when watching it the second time, that the Falcon has weird mutant feet that turn into talons.
Yeah, the Falcon is going to
break off these spears.
All sorts of abilities, and a lot of them having to do with his feet and ankles throughout these 3 episodes. And it's very strange to me that I guess they're thinking like, well, he has wings, so he can't use his arms, so he has to have rocket ankle boots or something.
I don't fucking know, man. It's extremely weird. Like, he wasn't exciting enough for the kids. And then Hawkeye and Wasp, they pick the right path, so there's no threats. It just reminds us that they're there.
Sure. Wanda shows up in this room, and it's with a chamber, like a cryogenic chamber looking thing with Wonder Man in it. That's a totally different cartoon. And she's of course freaking out because it's Wonder Man, and they've been looking for this body for a long time. As she goes up to reach out to free him, Ultron appears in the chamber. He takes the place of Wonder Man, and she's shackled into the chamber with using some like electric
energy
bracelets
beams
or something. Yeah,
he just fades into being Ultron, and this is new Ultron with the X-Men Sentinel body.
Yes, with the weird dark blue with like maroon highlights things that he has going. Gary, how long has he been sitting in this chamber, do you think?
I love it so much. I'm imagining him like, pressing all the buttons to set up his traps, and then like lifting up the lid of the coffin, like, and then like crawling into the coffin, closing it, and then disguising himself as Wonder Man and be like, now I play the nap card. you know, and just going to sleep and waiting.
It's later in this episode where he gets really angry because he's waiting for the Avengers to show up, so he just starts breaking apart his lab. And I kind of feel like this is because like he's had to wait for the Avengers so much because they're kind of an inept team that he just gets angry and impatient at Hank Pym.
His plan to hurt the Scarlet Witch during this too is to set, so she's chained to the coffin, and then he sets the inside of the coffin where he's at on fire.
Yes.
And it's really hot and makes her sweat a lot. So like that's the thing. Like, what if I set myself on fire near a hero and they can't get away from me? That'll own them.
Shit, it's the Human Torch. They figured me out. What am I going to do now?
If the Human Torch had a pair of like Chinese finger cuffs, he would be as effective as Ultron, the arch enemy of the Avengers in this fucking cartoon.
He escapes somehow. Ultron like leaves. My notes may be a little spotty.
He blows up.
Do what?
Yeah,
he explodes.
He blows up. Like the coffin explodes. He becomes like a giant hologram of laughing Ultron.
Sure, okay.
That is halfway phased through the floor. It's really fucking weird. And then they all escape because the Falcon Mobile gets pulled up because of his watch. Like the Falcon's Batmobile comes and picks them all up.
Yes. But I just want to call out that it does have suicide doors, and I'm pretty sure that it's got the ice cream paint job on the inside. Yeah. I just want to mention that he has an ice cream Lambo in this conversation somewhere. I cannot let this go by.
When he says he missed the game, he meant the game of seeing how much a toddler will pay for a Choco Taco.
Yeah, he's in Migos.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his real identity. He's 1/3 of Migos. He's the Lambo guy. He's the guy that just shouts Lambo. I don't know if you've seen that Saturday Night Live skit. I've probably watched it a million times. The Friendos with I
have not seen the Friendos.
It's Childish Gambino, and it's basically a Migos play, but it's him and the other two guys, and they're having to go to therapy because their relationship has gotten kind of rocky. So it's exactly what you might imagine, where like. Donald Glover starts rapping about the Lambo, and like it's interrupted. It's like, see, he was talking about his feelings, and you're back to the Lambo. Like it's that kind of thing.
I had to check that out. So they make their way back. Wanda's upset because Wonder Man got blown up in the dealie.
Yeah, she's kind of upset. Hank is upset because he's like, I programmed this stupid robot, and now it led me directly into a trap. Just so I feel pretty fucking stupid about this whole thing.
Yeah. I've failed as a superhero commander.
Yes.
I'm extremely bad at being a superhero and making other superheros better.
I hope Steve doesn't hear about this. Nobody put this on Facebook.
Nobody tell Steve's Facebook. Don't blog about it. So this is where Vision has his plan. He's like, Ultron wants me because I am the ultimate creation of his. So what if I am a trap to get him to I will be the bait. And then this will lead us to his lair.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is where we get a little bit of this Wanda and Vision kind of weird romance. But she's also saying that she has feelings for Wonder Man as well. And she's like, hey, I genuinely care about you. Please don't do this. And he's like, I'll be fine. Shut up. That's basically all Vision gives her. I rewatched Infinity War 2 this past weekend. Mm-hmm. No, Infinity War 1 this past weekend. And
Infinity War as well.
Yeah. The Wanda and Vision relationship there seems actually pretty good for what it is, if not just a little bit like too much too soon. But man, I couldn't help but watch that and think of like these characters voicing that in the movie, just cracking up the entire time.
Be pretty incredible. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I think it's one of the weaker parts of Infinity War, but it's so much stronger than this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
What do you make of this plan that they put together, Gary? This idea of we're going to get a visiting like Democrat dude to like do a speech, and during the speech, Vision is going to go crazy, and we're going to have to attack him. This seems like the most ridiculous thing ever.
Yeah, I think that it seems like the team, has had a problem with politicians being endangered around them before, so they might not want to do this. Like at least from like a public relations standpoint.
Yeah.
And from that guy getting killed, because they're acting as if Ultron is extremely predictable, and he's not. Like, there's no reason for him not just to send his weird murder drones, his truck formers that turn into robots that he sent in the first episode.
His fake news vans, I remember them.
Yeah, fake news vans that turn into turrets. And if he had sent those, this would be a dead politician, and it'd be a real whoops.
And they frame this like, oh man, he was so willing to go along with it because he wanted to meet the famous Avengers. I'm like, you realize this, like, everyone's going to be shooting rockets and lasers in about 20 seconds, right?
I want to get killed by the famous Avengers. I want the famous Avengers negligence to make my children into orphans. That's what I want. It's extremely dumb. And this is like, I really like the alternate universe that could split from here where the politician dies and this whole thing becomes like a Coen Brothers thing about Hank Pym hiding this from Steve Rogers. Like him continuously doing worse and worse crimes trying to cover up this initial crime.
And at the end, a spaceship is there.
Yeah, at the end, it's like, they need like some real modest amount of money. It's like, I know a guy who'll make this all go away, but he needs $37,000. And they like end up robbing a bank. Like, the Wasp gets shot. And he's like, no. Yeah, everything's just going wrong.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So they set off this plan. And Vision just basically starts shooting at Hawkeye and Falcon, which is pretty dope, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he just betrays them.
Ultron shows up because he's been watching the, like, I guess like CNSBC or whatever. Like he's just been hanging out.
This is webcam that he has on the Avengers. Keep in mind that
Ultron can watch camera.
He can go to twitch.tv/ West Coast Avengers whenever he wants.
Right. I keep forgetting that they're streaming everything they do on the internet. Yeah. They're in the IRL category on Twitch, Gary.
Yeah.
But immediately what happens is Ultron like grabs a Vision and leaves. And Hank is just like, oh, I lost his tracking information. And I'm like, excuse me? Like, this is the one thing that you had to do right.
Yeah, come on, Hank. Like, you're making it hard to like you.
Yeah, you're making it hard for me to think that you're like an actual scientist at all.
But I like, Hawkeye is super pissed about this because of course he is. Because, him being a shitty Wolverine, he's at least the voice of reason for this show's standards.
Sure, yeah. Hank seems totally unconcerned about this. He's like, yeah, don't worry, I got this under control. And I'm like, dude, this was the whole part of the plan that you needed to work right. But they science some shit up, right? Like they figure out that there's something inside Vision. I can't remember the word they use for it, but it's some weird fancy word that I don't know if it's Ingrams or whatever, but
it's not him sending in Laura Ingrams. It's him going through and like it's him shrinking down and using like a wrist Spidey blaster to fire a microchip into Vision's brain.
Yeah,
that he did way back in the day, and they can track him by this secondary tracking thing. Apparently,
so weird.
Yeah.
So this is where Ultron, it's revealed that Ultron, who has Vision kind of, knocked out and subdued at this point, because you can do that to an android, I guess. Mm-hmm. He gets real bad that Hank hasn't showed up yet and starts bashing stuff in his science lab. Where are they? I've made this so simple for him. I drew him a map.
Yep. And he's in a mountain that has his face carved on the side.
Let's talk about that. And then out of his mouth come his minions.
Yep. So I don't understand how this guy was hard to find in any universe.
Well, I mean, he had to knock the rocks off of it first. Like when they get there, like it's covered up, and then he turns the face button on or whatever, and then like all of the rocks fall away, and it's his face underneath. But yeah,
just having a robust like Google Earth setup would probably find this at some point.
I feel like there's some like automatic image detection you could be doing to find weird robots like this. Oh. If it was your job, like I'm not going to do this. This seems like a lot of effort for Jeremy Green. Yeah.
Hey, guess what, Jeremy? You're not Ant-Man, leader of the Avengers.
I'm not.
You don't have to fucking do that. Like you're the leader of the Avengers. You have to lead Avon, Maybe, and Rosie to food.
That's it.
And you have a series of systems set up to do that.
And it's pretty simple. Yeah, the food is the easy stuff. It's actually getting people to go outside to the bathroom is the harder part.
Yeah, you got to get piss out of dogs. Like, piss is to Ultron as you are to Hank Pym.
I can't wait to see that on a SAT question someday. So they attack. There's a shield around this thing, so I think only Hank and Wanda managed to get inside. Everyone else is trapped outside. Ultron sets up the situation where he wants Hank to fix Vision so that Vision can be evil.
Well, we saw something earlier. Like Ultron was trying to make Vision evil again, and he said there's like something in there he can't determine what it is. Like there's something that Hank has done, and what it is that it's a thinly veiled like symbol for humanity, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like it's the fact that he's now, what is this thing called love?
When he gets
that's what
into it, it
is.
actually does look like a brain, which I found very funny.
Yeah, the thing that Hank Pym shrank down into it and like threw a microchip onto. So that's what he's so pissed about, and he's like, Hank, you have to do this, otherwise, I will kill either Vision or Wonder Man. Like, I've got all the things here.
Yeah, he says, he actually starts a clock. It's like, I'll give you 2 hours, and if you're not done in 2 hours, then I'm gonna kill Wonder Man. And I find this funny because in about 5 minutes, that 2 hour clock is going to be running out. And I'm like, how long did it fucking take Hank Pym to do this?
The most boring superhero.
Dude, you're on
Everything
the
is in real time. When your superpower is coding, like, it's not very fun.
My superpower is deployed to production for the first time with no problems. It takes me days.
Like C++ certification.
So they decide to do it. Wanda does some computer stuff while Hank shrinks up and goes into Vision's ear to try to find this thingamajig. While that's going on, Ultron decides it's a good time to kill the other Avengers. Which really, I mean, like, if you want, none of this really makes sense from Ultron's perspective. I feel like Ultron just could work on this himself and figure out how to shrink somebody and get him inside Vision's head, but whatever. But he starts shooting at the other Avengers. And yells at them at the same time, which is probably the worst thing.
He's firing at the rest of them. They're considering going in to help out, but Wasp comes out and stops them. Basically, it's just to give the other Avengers something to do. And we get the Wasp riding on a Falcon, which is kind of cute. But that's really it. We go back into like this fantastic journey of Hank Pym going into the Robo-Brain of Vision while Wanda is typing on a computer. And Ultron's like, basically, note, Hank shrinks up and flies into Vision's ear. Wanda does stuff too.
I mean, is she a witch programmer now? Like, what the fuck is Wanda doing?
I don't know. It's like she replied to a Craigslist ad that's like, we need a A+ ninja programmer witch who can,
By the winds of destiny, I'm going to convert this Word Perfect file to a Microsoft Word format.
I can change flax to MP3s without opening iTunes.
Do you want to know how to make an animated GIF? That also making that joke leads us into a part where I think everything starts going haywire because Hank eventually finds like this doodad and it shocks him when he touches it, when he tries to remove it, like it shocks him. So now he's like half electrocuted inside Vision. And Wanda decides this is be a good time to attack Ultron. So she's like, by the winds of destiny. And like she gets halfway through the word and then Ultron just fucking blasts her right in the middle of it. I love that.
Yeah.
It was so fun. She just goes flying into the wall. It's so great. You never see these guys fail like this. And it's so good when it happens.
It all it takes is beams. and they go down. And she fails because she's distracted by looking over at Wonder Man, who's kind of squiggling in his cryogenic chamber. Like, everyone's waking up for some reason. Like, Hank Pym touching that chip has caused everyone to kind of wake up.
There's just a lot of waking up in general in this series. Like, I was in the 2-part finale. A lot of it is the villains doing something, the Avengers not being able to get up for a little while, and then doing so. Like, that's a lot of the action, which I found very strange. So
Wasp pops in.
Yeah, Wasp shows up. Vision wakes up. He starts blasting people. The time on the clock is running out. It's been our full 2 hours they've been at this. Can you imagine listening to Ultron's weird dumb voice yelling at you for 2 hours while you try to save
Absolutely
your friends?
Incredible.
I mean, the idea of that, like coming home to the Avengers mansion and just being like, nobody speak to me right now. I'm going to walk into my bedroom and put on my noise canceling headphones and play video games. Like, shut up.
When you said imagine coming home, I thought you were going to say imagine being married to Ultron.
Oh, even worse. Yeah. Because
in this cartoon,
Ultron
can you
has
imagine
to put
that?
up with this. Jesus Christ.
Like, you just come home and he's just like, how was your day? And you're like, I don't even want to tell you. It doesn't, because then you're going to tell me about yours, and I can't.
Let me tell you about what Hank Pym did to me today. Like, I don't.
You didn't do anything. You just sat down and watched Twitch all day. You didn't do anything, and it wasn't even an Avengers day. Like, they were just kind of sitting around.
The stream was buffering.
Someone in the chat used that emoji I don't understand.
They didn't read my donation message. Donated a lot for that.
What is a Kappa?
What is a Kappa? That's That's a good one. Sorry. Just Ultron asking, what is a Kappa? So, yes.
So the rest of the Avengers come in. Like, Vision zaps Ultron a bunch. The tides are turning. The rest of the Avengers come in. There's a part where, like, the proportions, like, Falcon flies in front of Ultron, and Ultron is conservatively 70 feet tall. It's like, I don't understand. He's, like, Sentinel-sized, but he keeps switching sizes because it's a really bad cartoon.
Yeah, some of the perspective work on this show is fucking garbage. Like, a lot of that.
Some of the worst.
We're going to bring it up a lot in the next episode, and the next episode we cover right after this, because, boy, they just can't get scale right at all. I think there was something in the finale where at one point I think I wrote in the notes, like, can Wasp grow into a giant chick too?
Yeah.
Like, I thought she just shrank. I didn't think that was her thing, that she got big.
So they knock, using teamwork, they knock Ultron into a pit.
Yeah.
That's how Ultron dies. There's a really great thing. I know that I don't want to give you GIF homework, but there's a very funny thing where Hank Pym goes out of Vision's ear, and Vision just is like casually sitting, and then Hank Pym grows to be casually sitting in roughly the same position next to him, and they look over and talk to each other. I could just imagine that GIF getting some play on Twitter. It's just like when you sit down next to your bro or something like that. It's very good.
That feeling when you've been inside your bro for a while but need to talk.
Yeah, you just gotta talk. I got into you, bro. So they leave. They're flying out. Hank leaves, like, you know, they're just kind of flying out of the mountain. It explodes, and they got Wonder Man's body, and that's the main thing they did.
Yes,
here.
That was the accomplishment. I mean, they killed Ultron. I mean, they, like, a hole opened up conveniently, and, like, the 5 of them worked together to knock him over. Like, that was their...
Yeah. Yeah, Ultron's one weakness, like a stair that's slightly different height.
Did that happen with Kang, too, the time traveler guy? Like, didn't they just, like, eventually just, like, knock him over to get rid of all of his, like, time energy bullshit? I vaguely remember, like, somebody wrapping their arms around his legs, and that was the way they got him down. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I have a very hard time remembering how we got rid of Kang.
I'm glad his name was actually Kang, because in my head I was confused between Kang and Krang, and I was very hesitant.
No, Krang. If they fought Krang, I mean, why not at this point? But it's a very different thing. This moves, so that's the episode. Goodbye, Ultron. We got Wonder Man.
Yes.
We take a little break from Wonder Man to do this next episode, Extreme Vengeance, February 5th, 2000. Egghead initiates a plot to destroy his arch-rival Ant-Man by making his Pym particles go crazy. The Avengers must prevent Ant-Man from shrinking into subatomic oblivion.
Gary, I sent you a DM on Slack as I was watching this and said, like, this may be the greatest Avengers episode of all time. I've already, like, if you're in the Slack and you've been watching Days of Future Cast, like, I put a GIF of this in there because something happened and we'll talk about it, but I just couldn't help myself. I was like, I have to do that. I have to do this immediately. This needs to be recorded. The beginning parts of this episode are some of my favorite shit in the world. It's so dumb.
And it's a really long, it's like the first 7 minutes or so are really good. I want the next Avengers movie to be this.
Oh my God.
Like, let's take a break from Infinity War and see what Egghead's up to.
I mean, that's gotta be, I didn't watch Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I mean, that's, I guess Egghead is in that movie, right? Like, he's one of the villains.
No, I don't think so, actually. Not in the new one.
Was there an old Ant-Man movie? Because when I looked up Egghead, I found a couple of really good lines in it, but the boring stuff was him, like, appearing in the film.
Well, it's gotta be, if there's an Egghead, it's gotta be, like, an obscure character that doesn't seem like Egghead. But they just said, like, oh, this is actually Egghead.
Yeah, in the film, he is Eva Starr's father and worked alongside Hank Pym and Bill Foster.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so they do show that guy, but he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
He just appears in flashback.
So. What was the other line that I sent you? Yeah, since we're just talking about Egghead for a minute.
Let's do some Egghead chat.
Apparently, because I had never heard of this dude, because who the fuck here knows who Egghead is, right?
Ant-Man villain.
Ant-Man villain. Like, what is his stable of bad guys look like? Apparently, this one's Egghead. The note on this is that there was a robot version of Egghead, and it says, a new Egghead appears as a member of the new Young Avengers. This version is a robot. Although his original programming was, quote, to respect all human life, a female neo-Nazi named Big Zero, who seems to have a relationship with this Egghead, has reprogrammed him to hate several minorities.
Oh my God.
Several, not all. What?
I gotta get back into Young Avengers, man.
Seriously,
that shit got crazy while I was gone. Cause like, yeah, I mean that's really funny because like there's no way that's good. Young Avengers was really good. Did you ever read that?
I read the Kieran Gillian. Was that the dude? Was that Young Avengers?
That is a dude. It's not. He wasn't the first guy who did it.
No. But I read his reboot with like the is it Miss America? I can't remember the Captain America chick that's like the intergalactic badass who was so cool, and the young gay couple that were so cool, and young Loki who was also very cool. Like I like that a whole lot.
I remember that stuff. That's the kind of later stuff.
Yes, yeah.
That's Young New Avengers, I guess. The because original Young Avengers is the one that I read. I think it's like Alan Hyneman or something like that's the name of the guy, and that was really good. But I need to read more now that I know that there's a tiny egghead Nazi who's programmed to hate some minorities. Not all.
Not all. Not all.
Yeah. Don't worry. I'm just, it's okay.
How are you going to fuck up a robot so bad it has racism? That seems like something out of a fucking Apewood comic, man. What did you do? Look at it. You gave it racism.
The gritty reboot of Egghead. This is a great note. Like, if I ever compile you and Cole's good notes, it's a Thanksgiving parade. What a fucking nightmare this is. Well, like, I don't understand exactly what's happening in the beginning. It's like an AR display where it shows buildings and confetti coming down, really large confetti, like confetti you could write a will on. And then there's a holographic lady floating, and on the right is just a big yellow block with a really sad cornucopia at the bottom. Like, what if a cornucopia had 4 vegetables in it?
Yeah, and one of them was plastic.
Yeah, really, really. And then it's just like this kind of off-brand Mardi Gras thing.
Yeah, is this supposed to be like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York? Right? Like, is that what this is supposed to be?
It's all like Mardi Gras robots and stuff. It's very weird.
It's not great, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I think the holograph chick is supposed to be like the newscaster. Right?
Oh yeah, it's just it looks really ugly. It
just looks real shitty. But this whole parade, it's like she's excited because they've introduced animatronic elements into it, and as we see the Avengers are here, like they're kind of just going down with in their little hover jet thing and the Quinjet, and Hank just standing up and waving as he's a little bit taller than everybody else, while everyone else is like, why the fuck are we here, including Vision, who just is like, I don't get this at all, and I'm the smartest robot in existence. Why are we here?
It is a real, once you start thinking about a parade, they get pretty hard to understand why you'd want to watch one.
Oh yeah.
Like it's kind of like very slow TV. You just, it's like a slow slideshow.
Yeah, and this a lot of times is very boring. The cool stuff in a parade is the drum line, if there's a drum line, and if there's not a drum line, your parade is shit. I'm sorry, period. Your parade is absolute shit. The what do they call? I can never remember the name for it. The women that's twirl the little baton thing. I can never,
sure.
Yeah,
I can't remember either.
Yeah, those chicks are super cool. And then like the original Mardi Gras down here started, and they used to throw like fruit and stuff. Like you would get like pumpkins and stuff like that. You got food from this, and you would take it home and eat it. Like, so that was like
throw pumpkins.
I mean, it was more of a handoff thing. Like, it wasn't like it wasn't near as big. Like, and they still do that.
Oh shit! Yeah. There were like 74 casualties of just pumpkin related braidings.
But like I can see that kind of stuff, but like going to like anytime, because Thanksgiving holiday or whatever, someone always turns on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and I'm like, this is the most boring thing in fucking existence. Why would you want to be here? Why would people line up for this?
Yeah, I don't understand anybody who watches it. It's extremely bland. Like all my old coworkers who have kids and stuff were like, I need to watch get my kids into watching the Macy's Day Parade. I'm like, your kid's gonna fucking summarily execute you. Like there's no way that your kid is going to deal, like the kids in this generation are going to deal with that shit. Like this is 10 times slower than entertainment for me, and I'm almost 40. This is 100 times too slow for entertainment for a kid.
Yeah, nobody dies in this, and you can't play it. It's not hooked up to a controller. Like, why am I bothering with this?
Yeah, you can't swipe on it. So they're all complaining about it being cold, which doesn't go anywhere. Then a gigantic robotic turkey lays a robotic egg that explodes into 2 cop cars. and I was like, oh, this is a good episode now.
Yep, same.
Like, this is like, oh, everything is good. Like, I'm just like,
Finally.
back, baby.
Now we're
Avengers.
talking. Now we got some of that good going in this.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this. Yeah, all of these like animatronic Santa helpers just start fucking attacking, and of course the Avengers are there to help.
Well, animatronic Santa helpers, one of them is a gigantic T-Rex that shoots fire out of his mouth, man. None of these are, like, I'd say roughly half of them are holiday related.
Also, the gigantic T-Rex, I did not realize was gigantic until Hank literally told the audience, I have to grow really big to be able to take care of this problem. And the Wasp was like, no, you can't grow that big, honey. And I was like, he just looks like a normal, he looks like Barney. He looks like a 6'5" Barney is what this dude looks like.
Yeah, it's real silly. The two elves, like Santa's elves, who turn their candy canes into bazooka and blow up a news van. Like,
so good, man.
It's really good. The T-Rex is like hitting jets out of the air with a lollipop. Like, where was this? Like, it's so weird that they decided to quarantine the entirety of the sense of fun in the show into one episode. Like, there's never has the show had a sense of whimsy up until this point. And this is, I mean, a little bit like Circus of Crime and stuff, but even then that was pretty serious. And here, like, a T-Rex holds up a lollipop to block machine gun fire from a fighter jet, and then knocks it out of the air with another lollipop. Like, this is so good.
It's like they had a substitute showrunner come on and go like, why aren't you guys doing the cartoon stuff? Like, you are a cartoon, right? Like, why aren't you leaning into this?
You get the kids are going to watch this, right?
Yeah, let's get dumb with it, y'all. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you get the kids and 40-year-olds are going to watch this, right?
It's fucking Ant-Man. Like, let's get weird.
And like so Hank Pym grows, again, he just looks about as tall as a normal guy, down to go fight this T-Rex, and you just get this image of like Ant-Man flipping this T-Rex off of his platform, the T-Rex getting up, being real mad, and them wrestling for a little bit. Like, it's really good, because he's not a realistic looking T-Rex. Like, he looks like Barney, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, he's got kind of short arms, but that's really about it. As this is happening, a like clown dude on stilts comes and like waddles himself over and like blows some weird bubbles onto Hank Pym.
And then just leaves, and nobody notices it, nobody cares.
Yeah, and it's weird because my sense, like, Hank was worried about getting too big to fight this T-Rex, which means that this guy is fucking enormous and nobody is seeing him.
It's like when he first showed up, I was sure it was going to be the Stilt Man. Like, there's that, like, there's like an actual Marvel villain whose whole deal is that. Like, he's very tall, but not very big or strong.
and not very fast, because I'm on stilts, guys. I can't go that fast.
Yeah, he's extremely slow. He just can go high. He has the power of somebody with a cherry picker. He just walks away. Ant-Man uncontrollably grows really big. Like, fucking suplexes this T-Rex. The T-Rex gets all shocked and scared when Ant-Man is growing big. Kids, are you a robot? Like, what are you? He keeps growing, and he's getting to like the size of a building, and it's like causing him to freak out. Like, he's definitely growing past his limits or whatever. And Wasp is very concerned.
Yeah,
about this.
But he tells her like, "Hey, you got to go save the rest of these people in New York." We switch back over to where these like bazooka-toting Santa people are chasing Hawkeye, and Hawkeye runs across the. Wait a minute, did I skip the part where?
You did. You skipped the good scene.
How did I skip? I didn't even write it. I was.
There's two good things that happen. It's like, one, these weird little shotgun pilgrims that look like cops show up, and they're huge, and Vision gets on top of the roof of his gun and then does his trick to turn all dense and crushes the gun.
Yes.
Which cannot be the best possible way of doing this.
I love this scene because Wanda sees this and says, "That gives me an idea," and does her Winds of Destiny routine, throws the gun into a fire hydrant. The fire hydrant then explodes, splashing the Pilgrim Cop, and the Pilgrim Cop says, "I'm going to deal with this by stepping on this." I mean, like, a fire hydrant's like usually like a 6-inch pipe at under full pressure, so that's probably like anywhere from 70 to 80 psi if you want to really get into some water shit on this episode.
This is what Jeremy does for a job.
So he steps on this thing and then very quickly realizes, oh, I have a hole in my foot and I'm just going to fill with water and explode out of my costume.
He fills with water while Wanda just kind of looks on casually until he explodes into water, which soaks Wanda. Somebody on Slack was just like, the Avengers, this is all about kink shaming.
Yes.
Or anything like that. Because this definitely feels like very fetish, dense couple of seconds. Underneath this, like, inflatable thing is this, like, a robot skeleton with the proportions of a toddler.
It's so fucking weird.
Like a gigantic toddler skeleton who just kind of dances for a minute and then we cut away.
And that's it.
Because that's dealt with. We're done.
The robot baby thing, man, is just, it kills me because it's just standing there like jerking from left to right. Like, where am I? How did I get here? And I'm like, nothing
I want to
has
add subtitles that are like, are you my mom now?
Wanda's from the
weird.
side. No more whatever that is. Like, can I use my power to make that go away? Can it be House of get that the fuck away from me?
So Hawkeye is scooting around and he's being chased by two elves, and he uses this thing. He shoots his arrow to cause a zip line to be on the toddler baby, which he trips it to turn into an explosion that explodes Santa's elves. Who I keep calling them Santa's elves. They have beards and they're dressed up in Santa suits.
I kind of got
so
confused
really just
here.
Baby
Like,
Santas.
It looks like two little mini Santas, but that dressed in like the full regalia. Like they're in their casual wear. They're casual
like
North Pole wear.
Two casual baby Santas. Like if you just took Santa and you split him in half, and instead of dying, he turned into two younger versions of himself.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a curse. So that's how they did it. All according to plan. All in a day's work for these fucking idiots. The turkey who laid the original cop egg flies out, lifts up its wings. Machine guns come out of its armpits, which it just starts destroying buildings for no reason.
Just fucking shooting up the spot, man. Like no concern whatsoever for human life. I mean, no plan. Like they couldn't have possibly known where this turkey was. Just let's shoot these like 5 office buildings up. Like that's it.
Let's do some property damage. For some reason. So this Tigra, Falcon, and the Wasp are the remaining people who have to do this. They do this thing called the Matrix maneuver, which means Tigra jumping on top of it and kind of standing there while Wasp deals with it.
Yep.
Which Wasp puts missiles into the armpits of the turkey. And blows it up. Yep. And that's the end of this scene. So it's 6 minutes of the greatest thing that this cartoon has ever done or will ever do.
We're at 22 minutes and there's 13 episodes, so the math on that is what, like...
It's not good.
Not real great. Just the statistical analysis of that.
Like, there are other funny things that happen in this episode. Like, it's not all that, but the beginning of it is very dense. Including what immediately happens, which the Avengers go home and Hank Pym just walks home. Like, establishing shot of giant Hank, the size of buildings, just like slowly, sadly walking home. Until he trips on the fence into the Avengers mansion and lands on a giant spike. And I'm like, oh, did Hank Pym just fucking impale himself and die?
He's got his
armor
on.
He does have his armor on. But it definitely looks like he just falls and impales himself on a fountain.
It's the only time that the armor has been useful in this entire series, Gary, was when he fell on a spike on the Avengers mansion.
As soon as it happens, Mini Jarvis runs out and is like, sir, are you all right? It's like, no, he's not all right.
Of course he's not. He's
commercial.
Fucking huge.
They've set up a circus tent in the yard,
dude,
that's guarded by like British police with Hank Pym's leg hanging out of it.
They just put a circus tent on his like upper body. That's it. It's just his head. So we're not going to hide his nether regions from the press, but just his face. Who could this giant person in the Avengers mansion possibly be?
Like, all these kids are writing their graffiti tag all over his ball sack, like while he sleeps. This is such a good emergency for the Avengers.
Oh, this is so funny. And Hank, or not Hank, I'm sorry, Vision comes in because Vision is like, the number 2 in charge when Hank is having an emergency, or has to go to the bathroom. And Vision just says very, very bluntly, like, hey, it's his Pym particles, and if he grows over 150 feet, he dead. So we got to figure that out pretty quick.
So we have another time limit here. And they explain Pym particles. Like this is where we explain Wasp and the Ant-Man's powers.
Sure. Yeah.
We switched to a news report that says the Avengers caused all this property damage. Which seems like anybody who was there saw the robots, but apparently not. They showed like a crowd getting mad earlier, so this is supposed to be they were framed for it. And it interviews one of his old buds, this guy named Egghead, here, and says like Hank Pym has always been shit. Like Hank Pym, and Egghead is just kind of treated as a normal guy. Like he's getting a TV interview and stuff like that. And he has this weird, like he's a conehead. He looks like one of the coneheads from the Coneheads movie.
Extremely like a conehead. I'm glad you brought that up because,
yeah,
boy,
he's got scary glasses. Like he's so obviously like a Star Trek alien, and everyone's just fine with him. It's really weird. I don't understand it, but he's just like Hank Pym has always been a fuck up, essentially.
Hank decides to split the team up. So they're gonna some of them are gonna stay back and work on a cure for his bigness, and the other team needs to go investigate the parade route to figure out what's going on. This consists of them using like various devices to analyze the news footage or the floating webcam that is broadcasting this onto Twitch. And they notice this clown, and Wanda just immediately like looks at this thing. He's like, I never trusted clowns. And I'm like, can we please get more character development like this? I want more of this.
Very
please.
Strange. Yeah, I don't. I want to know what the origins are. I love that they go when they go to the thing. Falcon is checking out the T-Rex that fell down, and he has an iPad that's branded like Scarlet Witch's head. Do you see this shit? Do you remember that? Like he's got an iPad that is wearing the same hat that Scarlet Witch is wearing.
It's very weird.
It's exactly the same.
Man, they were just trying to merchandise the fuck out of the show, huh?
Yeah, and she has a normal iPad. Why does she get a normal iPad and he gets the one wearing her hat?
Yeah,
Jeremy. This cartoon is broken.
This cartoon is extremely broken, Gary. We are broken people for putting up with this so far.
And we're creating broken people. They see the clown and they're like, these fucking idiots, because we saw the clown spray the bubbles on Hank Pym, and they're just like, they spend what feels like 5 minutes being like, well, the clown didn't touch him. There could be no contact. The clown didn't do it. And then
legally,
like,
he's done nothing wrong. We don't have any evidence.
Exactly,
and I'm like, exactly what are you talking about?
Ah, God. And then Hawkeye's like, wait, look at those bubbles. And they're like, the bubbles, an airborne agent could happen. It's like, how is the idea of an airborne poison this much of a revelation to the fucking Avengers?
Obviously it's not, because they use these Scarlet Witch branded iPads to do a chemical analysis on the video to determine if there's some weird Pym particles shit going on with it.
Well, and they look at his head and they use a chemical analysis on the iPad to show that the clown has the same shaped head as Egghead.
And still say they don't have any. I think even one of them says the word circumstantial at some point during this. I'm like, come on, guys, this isn't Law and Order.
It's amazing.
Go after the villain. What are we waiting on?
The iPad just looks through the head to show Egghead. Really, really, it's something.
It's definitely something else. I love this next scene because we go back to Hank, who is under the circus tent, and Egghead has decided to just parade a bunch of reporters in and like breaks through all of the weird guards. And it's like, look at this fucking idiot, points her cameras at that.
And there are all these cops stationed outside before, and Egghead just like, don't worry, I'm Egghead. You can all come in. They run in. Like, Jarvis is like, so they're coming. And then they all burst through. Like, he just knocks Jarvis out of the way and they all sprint into the tent. He just points at him and is like, look at this fool. And all the reporters like, like gasp.
You're right.
And like murmur.
Did the reporters not see his gigantic ass and balls just hanging out the tent on fucking Central Park or wherever this mansion is?
And presumably, like, the reporters, like, not 10 minutes ago, the Avengers were in a parade. Like, people know who these people are. I don't know what he's supposed to be revealing here. Like, they know who Giant Man is, apparently.
Oh, look at him. He got slightly more giant. Isn't he a fool?
Yeah, I do not get it. So, here's where he says, like, I'm going to be the one to save his life. Wasp is like, hey, get the fuck out of here. Like,
yeah, please leave. Please take your weird poison jar and just go away from us, please.
Yeah. And he says, I have a way to get around this. I'm going to apply it. Wasp like tries to stop him. But she can't. And I'm like, oh, okay, he's getting rid of their powers. Yeah. Is like what I thought. Like, this is just him like going to depower the Avengers so he can do some Avengers stuff. That doesn't really pay off in a meaningful way.
No, Gary,
but it does work.
Just killing him a different way for a second time. Like, he did this once, and if he had just left it alone, more than likely they wouldn't have been able to come up with what was happening, which is that he was getting he couldn't stop getting bigger. But now he's introduced a different problem. Like he shrinks back down to normal size, but then he can't stop shrinking. Like, did you want to do it both ways? Like it was important to you to kill him twice?
I don't know, man. It's like he's filling up a BioShock research camera, and he has to kill him in interesting ways to get more research points on Hank Pym.
Got to get these trophies, Gary. Got to get these trophies.
Yeah. Hunting Chivos. The pretty silly. Hank Pym wakes up on a giant bed, which is kind of fun. But this is where he starts shrinking. It starts happening soon where he starts shrinking.
Yeah, but this is where we do see Hawkeye's like normal ass car that he just pulls up in. It was like, hey guys, that whole parade was a trap, and I'm like, I think it was just a Thanksgiving Day parade. Like the whole thing wasn't about you guys. Dial it down a little bit.
No, they didn't invent Thanksgiving to trap the Avengers.
They fucking long con there, man.
Yeah,
those poor Indians.
I love him showing up. He shows up like 2 seconds late too. He shows up in the car, points. And just like, it was a trap, and the egghead had just left.
Yes, yeah.
Like, good job, Hawkeye.
And they look over, and sure enough, Hank is gone, and we go to a commercial break and come back, and they very quickly figure out that he has actually shrank, and now he is on this giant cot, getting run over by these weird-looking creatures. This is going to start a trend for the rest of this episode, Gary, where apparently if you just shrink down small enough, everything is a horrific mutant-like creature. It's fucking terrifying.
It's an Ant-Man trope like that. They do really good stuff with that in the new movie. And he immediately, there's a huge, he calls them like a stampede of dust mites, but they look like tardigrades, which are a big thing in the movie. And it's pretty great. Like, I'm actually pretty down for Ant-Man getting super small and everything being scary.
Oh, me too. Really like, I like it a lot. It's just weird. Like, if you just go down small enough, like, everything is trying to eat you at a subatomic level. Like, it's fucking terrifying.
I also got to call out the filter of, like, real, actual footage of cells that they put over everything when he's small.
Oh yeah, that's real bad.
This footage of just like grainy, like 70s school film, like footage of cells that go over everything. Like it's pretty silly. But he just keeps shrinking. He can still talk to them, but he can keep shrinking.
They also do the thing where where anytime there's an explosion, they like paste in like a real explosion, but it looks like some cheesy After Effects, like 1992 After Effects that someone has like a broken serial key for that they can use.
Yeah, this is a student film. My student film was Avengers United They Stand.
This looks real bad. Vision pops up because he is a barrel of sunshine on this episode and says, hey, if he keeps shrinking, guess what? He'll die.
Yeah, I know the exact measurements of when people die depending on what size they're at. So
I have the power to go transparent, to get to turn into stone, and to tell you exactly how long you have left to shuffle off your mortal coil.
Yeah, shuffle off your Motorola. So at this point, Wasp has the brilliant idea of like, there's one common factor here with all this shit. Egghead. And it's like, well, okay, 14 minutes in, dummy. Like,
yeah,
okay,
what are you guys doing? Like that, you should have been knowing this stuff.
Yeah, come on.
So they all go and like converge on Egghead's little like mansion lab thing. Egghead has you could tell he's a brilliant scientist because he's designed statues of himself that move around and shoot lasers, and also he's buff in them where he is not buff in real life. Which
I love these statues. There's one of them that has on my file that I have, it's at 15 minutes and 40 seconds. That is in this extremely seductive pose, like has both legs kind of like knees kind of inwards and feet ankles outwards, and has his hand on his hip in a way that is very much like, well, you're gonna come fuck me or not? Like
this statue don't get soft, baby.
Yeah. Are you looking for some easy company? Like it's an incredible pose. Like I want to make a bunch of statues of me in these various coquettish poses
and just have them in your front yard. And also they shoot lasers at the Avengers. That sounds like a pretty dope project.
When you say they shoot lasers too, I don't want anyone to think that they're robots that have lasers that come out of their eyes.
No,
they have a little container in their hip that a gun that's also a statue. He made a statue of a gun that also shoots. So they pull out stone guns.
Was
like stone laser?
Do you think
guns.
He was just dating like a chick that was real into making statues, and so he just like kind of relationship chameleoned his way into making these things, and he had a bunch of them left over after they
like Alicia Masters or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. He dated Alicia Masters for like a week.
He dated the Thing's girlfriend for like a week. Like, well, we were broken up at the time. It's all right.
She's like, how would I supposed to know? I can't read his Twitter.
I thought it was weird, but I just thought it was some kinky sex stuff. Did you see the poses?
I was kind of into it. You don't really get this adventurous thing. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah. The weird thing too is for some reason the Wasp gets a special outfit, or Scarlet Witch gets a special outfit during this. Did you catch that?
Oh no! I think in the next episode I asked if this was the first time that we've seen her armor, but yeah,
next episode they do like Arctic attack. No, that's in the next episode we'll do. They do Arctic attack. Jesus Christ, Avengers. In this one, she's like ninja. Like she gets a weird ninja outfit. It's like the bottom half it looks like she's putting together like an optimized Dark Souls build for poise because it's like a chest plate on the chest and then like the ninja pants.
Weird.
I don't know why she got to change outfits for this mission.
They have no idea what to put Wanda in because she seems like she's the most like her outfit has gone through the most changes over the last like 9 or 10 episodes.
It's hard to modernize. So the Avengers are all fighting statues. Egghead is watching it on a screen. Back at the base,
Twitch.tv
and
West Coast Avengers, man. Why do they broadcast this on the internet?
It's like they're part of a reality show.
I do love Egghead's line before we get too far away, where he starts like ranting at the Avengers and says, "Where is your leader now? Eating his own dust." And I'm like, I don't think you're supposed to eat somebody else's dust, Egghead. I don't know that you.
Yeah, that doesn't actually mean anything.
Yeah,
Egghead. So we switch back to Wasp and Vision, and they just invent a way to fix Hank. Like, she has to go fly down into subspace. Like, she shrinks down, like, oh, we have to give it to him. Mm-hmm. She's like, you forgot, I can still shrink. She fights some dust mites and stuff, but she's gonna go fix Hank.
Yes.
So good. They everything is fixed. Wanda, weird ninja Wanda, uses her magic beams, to make his, Twitch subscription run away and make his whole building get destroyed with electricity.
Yes.
So she shorts out all of his power.
Mm-hmm. So he tries to run away in his egocopter.
In his egocopter, which busts out of the top of the ceiling propeller first.
It's not how that works.
Extremely dumb looking.
Well, so I mean, what are you going to do? Go egg first? Those things break, Gary.
Yeah. Like, understand why it's a helicopter. And then Falcon does like a crunch to bring his shins up, which tiny little missile bays come out of his boots.
Yes. He has ankle missiles, Gary. This gets brought up again in the finale, too. He loves using this ankle missile. It's really weird.
And Hawkeye, the Falcon's reliance on feet.
In the movies, Falcon spends a lot of time like flying in from the side and like kind of propelling his foot forward into a kick as he kind of buffs himself back. And I wonder if that's because I haven't read a lot of Falcon comics, so I wonder if they just kind of like were like, oh yeah, he uses his feet a lot to kick people, let's give his feet rockets. And we're like, the kind that makes him fly? No, he can already fly. I meant the opposite kind of rockets, the kinds that blow up.
Yeah so there's something like that is going on.
Very strange.
Yeah. So speaking of strange, they arrest Egghead. They bring him to the tent. Here. Wasp at first is really mad because she thinks she didn't save Hank, and she's just like, there's just like a couple seconds of her just knocking things over and throwing test tubes.
Oh, I thought this was a bit.
Oh, you think they were tricking him?
Yeah, because,
you may be right.
Because then, he's like, Egghead like looks at Vision and was like, "You said he was dead," and Vision like takes 45 minutes to tell him, "Actually, sir, it was a lie." Like, what the fuck are they doing?
Right.
Like, they're pretending that he's dead. I guess to capture his confession or whatever.
Because the amount of his science lab full of murder sex statues is not enough.
Yes, we have to actually they're really concerned with the due process of this Egghead. I guess because he's a white guy, right?
He's not just summarily executed.
He was an illegal alien to be like, to the fucking raft with you.
Yeah. They don't care about due process enough to not give him a aerosol bomb that shrinks him.
Yeah, but only for a couple of hours.
It explodes into him. He runs around in little circles like a little mad guy. Where he bangs on Finn's shoe.
Oh, it's so good. And he threatens to sue him. He's like, I'm going to see you in court.
And they put him in a jar like a tarantula. And then present him to the police in a jar. And he's banging on the side of the jar all angry. Like, this is legit great. Like, I am so really... And then the final scene is Wanda handing them a CD-ROM of the confession. Yeah. And everyone is amused by Tiny Prisoner.
Everybody is,
Yeah.
and like I feel bad for the
Yep.
cops who have to figure out how to hold this dude. Like, are they just gonna like put this jar in the middle of a jail cell and hope he doesn't cut himself on the glass when he goes real big? This presents like some logistical difficulties to the police, is what I'm saying.
There's some like freeze frame stuff too. So then it cuts over to the Avengers watching their webcam that they have in the police, their due process cam, where they're seeing the police deal with tiny jarred Egghead. It cuts over. Tigra uses the remote control to change the channel, and for just a split second, it says "Ent News Ron Merck" in big letters, and I think it's supposed to be entertainment news from somebody named Ron Merck.
I happened to see this on the wiki. This was apparently one of the writers or the showrunners or something. Like, this was one of the higher ups part of the show, so he got like a little shout out for Ron Merck is the thing. So
Merck. I'm very mad that at Ent News.
Yes,
I don't like entertainment being shortened to Ent.
You're not. What if it's just news about conscious trees? Man? I'm kind of into Ent news. I'm just not into entertainment to be abbreviated as Ent news because I'm going to get confused.
Yeah, and I know. What if I want to learn about Ents? And I do.
I just want to see I don't need to learn about them. I just want to see what's happening right now. What's going on with Ents? Yeah.
Yep. It is one of the truly the greatest episode of this show.
Yes, I think it is easily
extremely fun.
The best episode. The Avengers are also invited to be I think they said the I can't remember the word they used, but like the head of the next Thanksgiving Day parade, and they're like, maybe we won't do that. Maybe we're done with parades for a little while, which seems real weird that they would just be done with it right now.
Yeah, Ghost might attack us or something like that. So we know what the Avengers are doing next year.
Yes,
that's the takeaway from this. Finally, a much worse episode. The Sorceress's Apprentice, February 12th, 2000. Scarlet Witch, along with the Vision, visits Agatha Harkness to see what she can do for Wonder Man, but she is kidnapped by Nicholas Scratch and the Salem Seven. She calls the rest of the Avengers to help her, but they are busy fighting the Grim Reaper, who attacks in retaliation for what happened to his brother Wonder Man. Because of this, Scarlet Witch and Vision have to rescue her without them. That happens. This is a pretty bland episode, and I think it's showing that the show is not just bad when Ultron is on screen. Like, everybody sucks in the show, and this is a gang of weirdos, but it feels too similar to me to the gang of weirdos that is the Zodiac.
Yeah, I don't know who any of these people are, and we seem to be digging pretty deep in Avengers villains. Like, I've read some Avengers comics, but apparently I did not go as far as deep as Nicholas Scratch and the Salem Seven, which kind of sounds like a band that would fight Scott Pilgrim more than a team that would fight the Avengers.
It definitely does.
This is and it's a lot of like bullshit magic stuff about immortals and things like that you can possibly use this magic. Oh, I'm going to give you my power, and now I'm a floating head in the sky, and all this other bullshit. And just it's very like they really took the everybody has wave beam powers and cranked that up to like 15, so that everything is a wave beam now, and it's just very boring.
Yeah, Nicholas Scratch is not good, and the Salem Seven. Like, I can imagine if you were like a fan of these characters, really not liking this treatment. Because presumably these are characters. Like, I haven't read a comic with the Salem Seven, but I know that they're actual things, I'm
going to see if I can find the coolest image of the Salem Seven on Google Images, just to see what I can.
It's going to be some fucking John Byrne 70s ass, some George Perez stuff, because, like, they haven't been around in a long time, I don't think. This opens with them responding to a bank robbery. We talked about them all taking their individual cars. Falcon and whoever he's riding with are driving against traffic.
I'm sorry, I don't want
to get there.
I'm sorry, it's only like 4 or 5 rows of comic stuff, and then it just goes into houses from Salem for some reason. So, if you were curious how dope the Salem 7 are, they get 4 rows on Google Images before it goes into literal houses and wedding photos.
Pretty cool.
Sorry, please continue. That was just really funny to me.
I just had the Falcon driving into traffic as they all converge on this bank.
Yes. Yeah, this is real good because they all come in different vehicles. Like, they all show up in different rides, which I think is very funny. They show up to the Grim Reaper robbing a bank. I actually think this fight scene is pretty good. I don't know who any of these people are, but like the animation is actually good. Like, characters look proportionate and they fight in interesting ways. Like, all this is kind of good.
Yeah, these are just henchmen, but plus the Grim Reaper and this weird future Grim Reaper. Like, the Grim Reaper in the comic dresses like a pirate, and he has one arm that's a scythe and it can shoot energy or something like that. This one is a robot with one arm that has a blade on it, and he talks exactly like Beavis.
It's
like
real
he's constantly
bad.
going, and I don't understand why he's constantly Beavis laughing.
It's so bad, Gary. And like, as much as I praised like the very brief fight scene which was mostly just Tigra not looking weird for once.
Yeah.
The Falcon starts like flying around in like a weird pattern while Grim Reaper shoots at him, and it's just garbage because he's talking the entire time. He's here to steal gold, which seems like a very like old school villain kind of thing to do.
And maybe a little bit below the Avengers pay grade.
Also that, like, I feel like the Defenders could come out and play for this one.
Yeah. Or I mean, they'll just hazard this. The cops.
Or the cops can maybe handle this. Because what happens is Wanda uses the Wings of Destiny to melt all of the gold so that nobody gets the gold now.
I actually like that a lot. They're just trying to hurt his feelings.
Death
They don't
to
actually care about property.
Right,
yeah, exactly. Direct action works, Wanda. Yeah, I'm way into that. So and then we find out the important thing here is this is the Grim Reaper is Wonder Man's brother. So he's mad. He's doing this like he wants this money because he wants to use the money to get revenge. What happened to Wonder Man?
Oh, I didn't get this at all because I thought he was just doing this to steal some gold, and then like they showed up without Wonder Man, and he was like, "Where's Wonder Man at? What do you mean you didn't alert his family? He's been gone for months. Did you call our mom? I mean, I know I'm robbing a bank right now, but mom deserves to know."
Put out a platinum alert. I think it comes up later. He says that like what his motivation was.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like he's not on his brother's side. I think he just like. There's something with it later. I don't remember exactly what. So Wanda is over Wonder Man's body and is very sad. Like they've taken the good thing that's over. Vision catches her and they kind of go back and forth and just like, will Wonder Man come back to life? If so, the fact that you have his bananagrams, does that mean that like things are going to be different? Vision's like, I don't understand. You're asking a robot. Like, I don't fucking know this. Medical science doesn't know everything. And then Wanda goes, medical science doesn't know everything. Let's try acupuncture. Let's try magic.
I know a guy. He says that if I drink a root, then all of my problems will go away.
As long as I drink my pee first thing in the morning, it'll be all right, and it won't taste that bad. So they decide to visit Agatha Harkness, who is a real ass, Marvel Comics character, and is actually the person who trained Scarlet Witch to use some magic because for some reason Scarlet Witch has her powers and is also kind of magic.
Of course, yeah.
In a way that I never really liked. Like I was just like, why doesn't she have one of these things? So they go to her Sanctum Supreme or whatever.
This castle is pretty hilarious because if you're a witch, if you're an immortal witch, if you had to build a castle for yourself, like you would definitely opt for the constant fluorescent green fog on the ground. like you just have a real bad draft of green fog coming in. Like, can you close the door, Agatha? What are you doing?
And for some reason in the summers now in Portland, because every summer there's gigantic forest fires because the world's ending, Portland gets covered in a smog now.
Oh, good.
And it's been super, super bad this week. So when you go outside, it just looks like a hazy nightmare. And because of circumstances, I ended up being outside walking for about an hour and a half yesterday, in two different instances, and I came home and my lungs hurt.
Oh, jeez, man!
It was like I was in Agatha Harkness's fucking pocket.
I have several friends, and because there's wildfires everywhere, but seeing pictures on Twitter of my friends being like, "Hey, look, there's the glow of the fire!" Just so many blocks away from my place of business. That's kind of scary. That's just so fucking terrifying.
It's super fucking terrifying, man. Yeah, I hate it.
They do. I'm watching the show Castle Rock right now, which is a weird
Stephen King homage.
Yeah. It's very hey, do you know Stephen King? Kind of trivia show almost. But it's set against the backdrop of this crazy wildfire that's going out of control, and a lot of the shots have this crazy cool orange glow, and I'm sure they just adjusted the lighting to get that, but it looks really cool. It's actually a really good effect.
Yeah, cool shit.
So Agatha tells Wanda, hey, I know why you're here. I probably should have helped you, but actually, there's a real big evil coming for me, and I kind of have to take care of that first. And then right on cue, the evil shows up, and Nicholas Scratch just teleports into her house.
Yeah, not Doctor Strange.
No.
Shows up. During this whole time, Agatha has been petting a cat.
Yes.
This really weirdly drawn, chubby cat with a lightning bolt on its head who's always hissing. And they spend a lot of time adventuring with this cat. And I'm pretty into it, actually. And the cat's very calm during all of this.
And
it's good stuff.
Spoiler alert: the cat is a werepuma, so it's not even a full cat.
Just in case you were wondering. So everybody just shoots particle effects.
Yes.
The Nicholas Scratch shows up with two unnamed, just weirdos. Show up to shoot particle effects at the Avengers and knock them out.
Nicholas kind of says like, "Oh, this is my mom, and I'm here. She did something bad." He does a lot of rhyming spells, which I'm not really into anymore.
No,
I think that used to be something that would be very cool to like young Jeremy, but not anymore.
No longer. And what his whole thing that he's mad about, I'm trying to understand. It's because she didn't teach him because she's evil and taught Wanda instead.
Yes.
So there's this whole jealousy thing. So what a nice quinky dink that Wanda happened to be there.
It works out really well for Nicholas. Would he have just gone to try to find her? And also there's this weird, I guess they're all immortals and living in some weird immortal town, and Wanda is not immortal. So
Salem Town or whatever.
Yeah. All of this is real weird, and it just doesn't matter. Basically, it's an excuse for Nicholas to rhyme and shoot particle beams at everybody.
Yeah. And then they get magicked away.
Yes.
At some point. So then we switch over to the B plot with the rest of the Avengers fighting the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Which doesn't go anywhere, really.
Mm-mm.
They just needed, the show is not confident enough to do an episode just focusing on two characters that are off doing something different. No one will buy the action figures. So Agatha got taken away. The Avengers didn't get, I misspoke. The Avengers didn't get taken away. They're there in the jet saying hey, we have to go deal with this. Hank is saying hey, help us fight the Grim Reaper. And Scarlet Witch is I have a cat to pet.
Yeah, I got to go do this thing. This chick that I haven't talked to in 20 years might be in trouble or something. I don't really know.
Yep. So we cannot do it. We have to actually head over there. Vision says, and this is to save Wonder Man. Vision says, "I'll go with you."
Yep.
Just like Simon wouldn't let you go alone.
Yeah.
Remember me? I'm like Simon too.
Yeah. Remember? I got dick like Simon. Come on, I'm here.
Yeah.
Dick like Simon is my 2018 Moves Like Jagger parody song, by the way.
I think I just assume that means it's deep, 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 doop, deep, doop.
Also really
deep,
good.
Doop, deep. So they're flying over to something called the Valley of the Seven Peaks, which valleys don't have peaks. They're the opposite of peaks.
Yes.
God damn it. So that's where they're going to, where this immortal village is. Agatha calls out to Wanda as they approach, and there's a lot of just a little bit of backstory with Wanda. I don't know. The cat hisses, so they can't actually quite hear her there. And then they land there, and they land, and this cat finds them.
Yes.
There, not the cat they've had with them, not the house cat.
Totally.
The house cat finds the villains or whatever.
Yeah. I don't understand why there's so many cats in this episode.
So they're using Vision is holding the cat like a dowsing rod, just kind of holds the cat in his arms, and the cat just points the direction to go.
It's two sticks trying to find some running water somewhere.
Yeah, and the cat just hisses while it does it. It's pretty amazing, and they find the illusion that has covered the valley, so they can get in there.
So they find they see that there's a force field around this place, and Wanda quickly says oh, that's not a force field. That's the reason you can't figure out how to work it, Vision. This is actually a spell, a protective ward, and there's a chance that I might understand it. So by the wings of destiny, let's increase that chance that I might be able to do it, and then breaks it open.
Yeah, good. Good. Why do you even know magic when you can do anything?
They scan for life forms to figure out if there's anybody there, and who shows up but one of the seven, not the samurai, Salem seven. And it's a woman who is upper torso woman, lower torso long snake, right arm also long snake,
also a cobra, a different kind of snake.
I don't know what it is with the show and making people's right arms giant like animals or animal parts, but I fucking adore it.
It's right from the Scorpio school of villain design. It's very, very weird. And I don't know if this is actually a Salem 7 or not. I haven't looked.
It is,
but it's a very, very funny design.
And apparently, because I still have that tab up. Apparently, she doesn't. Apparently, they didn't go as crazy in the show as they do in the comics. Because in the comics, she actually has 2 snake arms. How does this woman eat?
She just feeds her arm. This is surprisingly accurate. this Salem 7 that you sent me, this picture of them.
Yeah,
to the cartoon ones.
It
because
doesn't look too bad. Now that I've seen this, it's,
Yeah. Now that the other weirdos show up, like one guy who's in a form-fitting bodysuit with Cyclops eyes, one guy who just has like spikes, yellow guy with spikes all over him, and then like Beast 2. Like it looks like Beast Man from He-Man.
Beast 2, I believe, is Thorn with 2 N's, according to
cool.
Looking this guy. Snake Chick is
like the strip club by my house, Skin with 2 N's.
Thorn with 2 N's. Yeah. The second N is for nasty. The Snake Chick is named Reptilla, in case you were curious.
Oh, okay. It seems about right.
Seems legit.
Here's where so they're gonna get into a fight. Nicholas Scratch shows up, and here's where the constantly hissing cat turns into the puma.
Yes, wear a puma.
Yep. And it's just kind of like this kind of bland beam and energy fight.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting beams or shooting cages or whatever. Like Nicholas Scratch puts the cat into a beam cage.
Yep.
Some people throw some spikes. Vision stands in front of them. Pretty shitty avenging going on here.
Yeah, one of these dudes has like energy draining powers, which looking at this thing could be somebody named Hydron, but who knows?
Okay, cool.
Not necessarily 100% on that one, but basically drains all of Vision's energy, which is something I didn't actually pick up on because I was so incredibly bored in this episode. And so later on during the trial, when Vision's like creepily scanning everybody there but not saying anything, I was like, what? I guess that's what is happening with Vision. But I guess that's him waking up later. I didn't realize that until much later.
Yeah.
So
he got his beam. The Nicholas Scratch puts Scarlet Witch in a cage, and they're going to do a trial in this like Salem Witch Trials-esque, schoolhouse.
Yes,
with a bell on top.
Mm-hmm. They say, okay, now it's time for a trial. They teleport to what looks like just like a shitty room that's in this New Salem place. It's not necessarily a trial. It's just an opportunity for Nicholas Scratch to just yell at his mom a whole lot, and also Wanda since she happens to be there. That's all this is. It's just a bunch of yelling.
Taught Wanda. Like his whole thing is she taught mortals magic instead of us.
Yes.
And like he's just like, you're just a mutant. You're not actually a sorceress. Like you're nonsense.
And Agatha says well, hey, I'm not going to teach you guys anything because this was supposed to be a good thing. We were supposed to use our powers for good, and you guys are all twisted and bad.
Yeah, you guys are assholes. I love how the Salem 7 doesn't have 7 people in the cartoon.
No, can't afford all that animation, Carrie. We don't have enough time for that.
I'm looking at it now, and I see all the Salem 7s, and there's 6 of them. There's the other one. Oh, but is there actually? If you count Nicholas Scratch, there's 8. Why can't you get to 7?
Well, I think because it's Nicholas Sparks and the Salem 7. It's like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Tom Petty is not a heartbreaker.
It's like fingers and thumbs.
Look, I'm just saying, Gary, don't count fucking wrong on this podcast, okay? I get angry about this stuff.
So they yell at them a bunch, say they're guilty, so they get teleported to Spider Skull Island, like this skull zone where a gigantic stone skull starts shooting lasers at them.
That was it. That was the whole trial. Like Nicholas Spark.
What is even happening?
I said Nicholas Spark. Yeah. It's a much different show. Nicholas Scratch turns to the rest of these people and said, like, I've heard enough, haven't you? And they're like, yeah, let's kill her. And so they take her to the skull place. It's fucking so dumb.
Yeah, it is bonkers. So Wanda wakes up the Vision, like by telling him that she loves him, and the power of love or something dissolves the cages. There, so good. Agatha yells. There's more yelling. There's more beams. Mm-hmm. Agatha gives all of her power to Wanda, so Wanda can bust them out of this skull zone.
Mm-hmm. Funnily enough, that when she transfers this power, they use the closed fist to open handshake that Wonder Man and Hawkeye used, which I thought was a nice comment.
Yeah,
just kidding. Would have been 100,000% better.
Yeah, the way they suck them all into a skull, all the Salem 7 get sucked into a skull. Then the skull sucks up a bunch of rocks to block it. Then it turns into a regular rock. So they're double sealed. Okay.
Yeah, I guess. And they're like, and I think even Wanda's like, and we've taken care of that problem forever. And I think it's like, no, not really. They'll be back. Okay, cool. Yeah. Thanks.
As Agatha Harkness turns into a tornado and leaves.
Later, y'all. Now that I'm mortal, I'm going out to get fucked.
Yeah. Okay. Just like, and it's such a I'm down for weirdos, but they're just shitty weirdos, you know?
It is, yeah. And all of this has like, I don't know, all of this is just bad. At the end of it, Wanda and Vision like have a conversation, and Wanda's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with all of this. And he's like, you should go save Wonder Man. And she's like, I should go save Wonder Man. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, it's the
Why
first,
were we
like,
here?
she's just never occurred to her. Like, this is the whole reason she was there.
And she does. She goes back, she unplugs his life support, which, like, Hawkeye's a hold up. But she's like, no, trust me.
Can we have a conversation?
Agatha Harkness appears like Simba's dad in the sky, gives her the power to bring out Wonder Man back, and Wonder Man's back. And he immediately is like, hey, babe, what'd I miss? And, like, starts kissing her and stuff, because Simon. And Vision does not like this.
No,
because, he wants to.
Super sad about it.
He has those same bananagrams. The Grim Reaper is watching, and he says, it's time for the Avengers to die, or something like that. It's time for me to get revenge. It seems like they're trying to set him up as the big bad for season 2. It's like, good fucking luck, and I admire your optimism. Because not only will you not get season 2, but let me tell you, Grim Reaper was not going to be your guy.
Unless you were the actual Grim Reaper, naming yourself the Grim Reaper like reduces your standing in the superhero or supervillain community by like a factor of 12. Like, you can't just name yourself the Grim Reaper. Like, I mean, even the Punisher calls himself the Punisher, and he's killed thousands of people.
Is this your fucking like Counter-Strike tag?
Of course it is. Yeah. GR the number 1 M Reaper. Oh Jesus, the Grim Reaper would totally be on that Tumblr blog of course they're Reaper names from Overwatch or whatever. I don't know if you've ever seen any of that.
Oh
stuff,
yeah,
but yeah, it's a bunch of 420 Sephiroths on that bad boy. So these were some episodes of the show. I really enjoyed the Egghead episode. Like, that had a lot that went hard. Like, if you're gonna watch one episode of this, I'd say watch that, because you'll get a sampling of how dumb and stupid this show is, and you don't have to actually watch how dumb and stupid it can get.
How not fun stupid.
Yeah, the magic episode. Boy, that's just some of the most boring shit I've ever watched in my life, except for the next 2 episodes.
It's really bad. I don't think it's the worst episode of this show. I'm looking at the titles. Mm-hmm. Of the folder, like, really, really looking forward to deleting this folder and being like, what was Remnants about? Like, I don't like it. Which one was that? Like, that was the one with the Reploids.
Remnants was the one where they had to blow up part of France because of Ultron and his weird half organic, half robot life forms.
These idiots.
Yeah.
Like, they're just the worst superheroes that have ever been. I don't think it's the worst episode of the show. It's probably pretty close, though. It's tied with like 4 other episodes to be the worst one.
I think this is easily the worst episode. The Sorceress's Apprentice. I think this is the worst episode. There's barely any Avengers stuff in it. The villains are all dumb, and everything is just beams, and it never goes anywhere. So, like, I'm kind of not here for it. Although I will say,
even though I like that it's not Ultron again.
True. Yeah.
The worst episode almost seems like it has to be an Ultron episode to me.
Giant animal for an arm is a good trend, though, so I am kind of into that.
Yeah. That helps.
Oh geez.
So I don't know, man. That's fine. People like it when animals come through in the background of shows. So I don't know, man. Like, it's just pretty bad episodes. I'm really glad to be done with this. We're not going to get like a satisfying ending to this.
No.
We watched the last 2 episodes, and you called it perfectly. We're like, it feels like it ends on part 2 of a 3-parter.
It does. I actually looked it up to see, like, am I just missing an episode? And it's like, nope, it's 13 episodes. These are all of them. And I'm like, okay. So were they planning on ending it this way? Because it doesn't even feel like it's necessarily a cliffhanger so much as it just ends.
Yeah, it's extremely confusing. Because, I mean, especially too, because like it feels like we know a little bit about what they planned for season 2, and none of it was following up on seasons 1.
Yeah, we'll read some of those notes on the next episode of Days of Future Cast, so we could make fun of how bad these quote unquote plans are. They were like the plans I had to be when I said I wanted to be a lawyer at 13.
Yeah, saw somebody do it on TV. Of course, I can do it.
I've watched Law and Order. I'm into it. I know it.
Yep, looking forward to being done. Which we will be soon, and then we'll be moving on to greener pastures. Just you not to worry.
I am excited about it.
Yep.
Gary, what can they do if they like this episode and want to support this podcast?
If you like this episode of this podcast, the best thing to do is go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and throw us a couple bucks. if you like this episode of the show, I don't know what to do for you.
Yeah, I don't. This is
like if you're just like, man, I fucking love the Sorceress's Apprentice episode of that show. Like, please don't at me. Like, that's not. No one's gonna have a good time with that.
Or hey, I'll tell you what. At the podcast Twitter, because I hardly ever check that anyway. So at the podcast Twitter, you'll get it out of your system. We probably won't see it until months later and feel weird about it responding to a tweet that old. And everybody will be
won't even know what it's about.
Yeah,
yeah. Like we'll just be like, you hate the what Apprentice? Because by that point we'll have moved on.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Yep. You can also rate and review the show or tell your friends.
Yes.
Both those things are very very helpful. And if you want 2 bonus episodes of the show, you can go pick up the Diggity Duck bundles 1 and 2, both of which feature fun episodes of this show.
Yes, that X-Men pilot, whose name I've already forgotten. What is it called?
We didn't do the X-Men pilot. We didn't do Pride of the X-Men. We did Generation X.
Generation X. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. That Generation X TV show pilot was fucking hilarious and terrible in all the right ways. And then the X-Men anime is the second Diggity Duck bundle, and boy, is that some kind of animation that we watched.
It's long.
Yeah.
We did, it was a long.
We've done with over, I think this is 12 episodes or maybe 11 episodes as of the end of this podcast episode, and it's that's probably about an hour for each. So we're probably like 6 or 7 hours into this. We did 13 episodes of that show in like an hour and a half. That's how fucking long and boring that show is. So, but we got a lot of laughs out of it. That's the most important thing.
They're fun episodes. It just goes it goes real slow in watching. But you can check those out. All that goes to charity. You can check that out at Duckfeed.tv/store.
Yep. Thank you.
That's probably about it.
Everybody for listening. We'll see you in 2 weeks with the end of the Avengers forever. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.